So let's talk then about kind of the progression of my political thought, right?
Yeah.
Because as I started to recognize that maybe Trump was not the person I thought he was, I also I think got a little disillusioned with people on that side of the aisle in general. Now, um, I'm going to be conscientious of the setting we're in now and how different it is from where we were 2016 through 2020. Um, because there were some things that happened in at a national level
Yeah.
that made it very easy to discount the perspective of the American right. I'm speaking here about things like January 6th
Yeah.
and the storming of the Capitol and how apparent it was to a lot of people that something had gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was in this period of reflection and trying to figure out what I really thought. And I went out and explored ideas and tried to assess them on their merits. Um, One particular political theory that I want to talk about is generally associated with like the far left.
Okay.
Talking about anarchism. How familiar are you, Josh, with anarchism?
I'm familiar with it to the basic extent that probably everybody is, right? Like in the high level of no government and free choice, free will, whether it causes
Sure.
harm, right? But I think it's much deeper than that. So I would love for you to expound on it.
Sure, it's very easy for this to maybe not be misconstrued, but
Yeah.
anarchism is intrinsically tied in most people's minds to the idea of chaos,
Yeah.
of lack of structure, right? And I don't know that I hold to this view now, but for a while I really did try to explore like what would it actually mean for us to be completely disconnected, absent structures, absent rules. How might we benefit and how might we gain from that idea of liberty to its extreme?
Yeah.
Um, there are kind of some sister ideas like people talk about libertarianism and I'm not certainly not equating libertarianism and anarchism because they are quite different, but they're both motivated in general by the idea that we might not need structures.
Yep.
What I found actually in that theory was an incredibly valuable distinction between hierarchy and authority. This is something I feel people sometimes get wrong about anarchist political theory is that the idea is that nobody is in charge of anything. And actually, in the theory, they make this very interesting distinction between hierarchical power and authority. The idea is like authority is something that is given and can be taken away. It makes sense for the civil engineer to run the water treatment plant or the power plant. But hierarchy is giving somebody control that cannot be removed.
Yeah.
You think about it like the CEO of a company. Whether or not I have issues with the CEO of the company I work for, I have no ability to remove that CEO from power. And in similar ways, our political system works kind of like this, right? Whether or not I have issues with the president, I can't go and remove him from power. But there is a mechanism to remove that person over time, or if they are found to be, guilty of wrongdoing. Anyways,
Yeah.
the idea is that there is a distinction between hierarchical power and authority, and that people in positions of authority should be the ones who deserve that authority and who are judged by the people that are subject to that authority as like worthy and deserving of that.
Yeah.
Um, this is nuanced and it's challenging because I think it would be very easy to narrow this down. So I want to be very clear. I am not an anarchist, but this kind of exploration was where I lived for a little while. I've had conversations with people even in my personal life now who might still believe that I like hold to this because I was just kind of exploring it at the time. Um, that's probably the harshest like swing I could say.
Yeah,
Was that like kind of thinking and exploring that bit of theory.
yeah, absolutely. But I think it was deeply important, right?
Yeah.
I think that both ends of those extremes, and not to say that, I mean, sure, both ends of those extremes shaped a vision and your values that are what they are today, right? So I guess we've kind of, and I think you're something's on the tip of your tongue, so I'll
Yes.
pause. Give you a
Yeah.
second
So I want to also talk about the uh, conflict I have with those ideas now,
there.
but also the value in holding those. Right. So